And welcome back everyone to the Gauntlet of Champions, brought to you by AOE and CappingTV. I'm Pyronius, once again joined by Cyberwaste, and this is the game you've all been waiting for, OneHP versus MAWF Academy.
Yes, indeed. Both of these teams are 2-1, and I'm expecting, because I do recognize a few of these names, and a few of these names I'm actually going to have a lot of fun with casting. A few I recognize are the likes of Flagor and Void, and there's a member that's on MAWF Academy with the reading writing hotline number, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're wondering what that is, you may remember it as 1300-655-506. I'm not sure how we're going to say that quickly. We may end up defaulting back to reading, but we'll find out as we go.
maybe it can't be life-changing. We can call him life-changing. But either way, we're going to be traveling to Nepal, which has been the opening map for both sets this evening, and actually a default in our map pool. And in the blue will be 1 HP. 1 HP, yes, and on the red side will be MAWF Academy. I did just have like the biggest brain fart, and it happened to be on stream, which is a bit unfortunate, but it does happen to the best of us.
Absolutely. And this one is a match with a lot of consequence. As I said, both these teams, or as you said rather, both these teams 2-1. And this is very much a high-stakes map, as these teams are towards the top of the Swiss bracket. There's a lot of impact to be had up here. Both teams looking to make it up into the top 4 and hold their position there. So every win at this point absolutely crucial, especially wins against each other. They absolutely want to make it through into our playoffs and be in the running for a slice of that $500 prize pool. So a lot on the line for these teams. This is week 4 of 8. You do not want to be picking up any more L's at this point if you want to be in that top 4.
Definitely. You want to have a strong standing when you get to the halfway mark. And now the gates are down and we're rolling out. Flagor is a curious choice on the wrecking ball, but will be extremely fast in getting there before any other members of any other squad. So that could be a bright side to that full-blown rush down. And Influence used the Sonic Arrow, basically sniffed out this entire attack from MAWF Academy, just wrapping around from up top and through the room. And we're having a full-blown brawl. Slowly begin to envelop on the point, but Sputnik and Dibs have claimed the first 2 frags on the server. And just judging from the current state of affairs, aside from Parza focusing down the Widowmaker, it's going to be an easy tip over for MAWF Academy.
MAWF Academy in the driver's seat here. Flagor is going to come in, get some stuff, and an early kill onto Shadow Raven by Influence means the gate is open to come back into this one. Flagor needs to get a lot more done on that wrecking ball to get that minefield up, which is probably the play they're going for, but we're starting to see the damage coming in now. Dragon Strike coming through is going to split off the Orisa from the rest of the team. Reading ejected from the point there by Pazza. And this is looking like a fight that 1HP may be able to win.
Yeah, and despite the fact Doctor Who had got the better of Void by booping him out of contention, Influence had got the better of his counterpart Shadow Raven, and that is the sound barrier committed by Doctor Who. And then Parza will respond in kind. Flagor did end up getting the mines onto the field proper. Parza will blow out the Doctor Who's legs, and that'll be 1 HP, being a full-blown stack on the point. And Parza almost got the frag into Shadow Raven, but Influence will avenge him. And this is turning from a methodological fight to a full-blown scrap at the drop of a hat.
Absolutely, a lot of late kills there is perhaps some over-aggression coming out from members of 1HP. MAWF Academy going to have a big window to push back onto this point now as a result of it. Especially with that huge boot coming through from Pazza. That may be exactly what 1HP need to keep this one alive.
And that's been Pazza's play. I've sort of been taking a note of Pazza's position quite a bit. That's just been a Lucio that is a frog in the most literal sense, extremely slippery, extremely hard to catch. And he's been playing that to a plum and has been an extremely strong member of the 1HP squad thus far. And now, Parza and the members of 1HP are locking this down and stretching their lead for a longer period. And there goes the Dragon Strike to basically spread the defense, and Influence has gone down. But Eon has responded with 2, despite being taken down by Sputnik. It's another 1 fight for 1 HP. And this Parza, is it Parza? I keep thinking of Piazza. It has been a boot war between the two Lucios, and it may not be sound to some people, it has been entertaining nonetheless. And Parza has been riding the walls and riding the ceilings, and as I said, being extremely slippery. And it's been an ace in the hole for 1 HP.
Here comes the Flux coming in. Doesn't really get the value that we're looking for there, but it is going to really stagger out the members of MAWF Academy. They're going to struggle to get in and properly contest this one. Shadow Raven kicks up 2, but once again, Pazza getting another boop off the edge. It has just been the theme of this one. Flagor now, the minefield out just to deny the space. It is just clean up at this point. And that is going to be MAWF Academy getting this one, maybe? The fight seems to still be going.
It has definitely got legs and a new lease on life with the reinforcements coming in. But sadly, Parza had knocked Sputnik and the mech down into the pit below. And MAWF Academy sadly come up very... can't really get back to the point. And well, they might be calling the aforementioned hotline that is on the side of MAWF Academy, because they could not read the side of 1HP at all. It was a wild ride.
A wild ride indeed, and we'll see if 1HP are able to continue this momentum. That we will be moving over to Shrine, which means there's a lot less edges available. It looks like Parza actually going over to the Ana and Fabai taking over Lucio duty, so a bit of a change up there. No, Fabai just getting the boost out the gate, going over to the Baptiste. I'm blanking on his name for some reason, but looks like Doctor Who will be playing the Lucio, so we do have MAWF Academy getting the early point positioning as a result. And Flagor over onto the Zarya now.
Yeah, really curious as to how much value they'll get. There's definitely not going to be any shortage of abilities to get charged with.
Oof.
And Eon just laid down Shadow Raven with a arrow right to the mouth. Did the same to the Reba on the side of MAWF Academy. And Flagor with the particle cannon just running right through. And Eon and Eons will be laying down the smackdown on the side of MAWF Academy. And despite that 10% being built up, 1 HP are definitely starting off on the stronger foot.
Absolutely, a very quick retake there, and that will see them build up very quickly in percentage there. Coalescence coming in early from Dibs. They're going to commit in there, and Eon going down early to Shadow Raven means this is absolutely a winnable fight here for MAWF Academy, even with the window coming out.
And Feebike got taken down in the process of taking out that window, and Void with a huge gravital flux will break a lot of the MAWF Academy kneecaps. And despite Dibs getting a couple back, that's forced the red side to retreat once again and forced to regroup. And unless one of the members of 1 HP can be caught on the way back, is going to be another strong defense for MAWF Academy to chew through. And there goes the Dragon Grab. We're going back to the classics in terms of these combos. And Eon will claim 2. And I actually miss seeing that 1 HP will be a very strong defense now, and it'll be up to the side of MAWF Academy to try and figure this out. And they're running out of avenues.
They're running out of time,
as we move to 75.
Yeah, 75, only time for one fight. They will have the sound barrier into the next one, along with quite a number of other ultimates. Everything but their DPS ultimates are likely to be online, but that said, 1 HP knows exactly where they're coming from. Influence does get caught out early by Shadow Raven, and there goes Eon as well, so definitely an opportunity here for MAWF Academy to get back into this one.
Definitely, and all the defenders are basically wiped away, and it'll only be to bleed percentage, and they can't do it. They did get to 97 though, so it is essentially one and done in terms of fights, unless it's in the middle of a scrap. So it's definitely not over for OneHP. They're in a rather strong position still, but MAWF Academy can definitely get stuck in and get themselves into a similar position given the time.
Absolutely. A lot of compositional switches from my 1HP does mean there's a lot of ult momentum on for MAWF Academy. We'll see if they can capitalize that though. Early kill onto Flagor, but it's traded back. Shadow Raven going down is a lot of damage off the field. They're committing a lot of ultimates in here, but it really does feel like 1HP have this under control. MAWF Academy, rather, locking down this fight. 1HP forced to eject from the point. And it's just whether or not they stagger out, and Puzza will get staggered out there. So 60% on the clock, but that was almost all of the banked up resources there of MAWF Academy into that fight. So 1HP, they're going to make a few more adjustments. Aeon going over to the Doomfist. It's only the Supercharger online for the defenders, and Flagor's starting to get close to that grab.
Yeah, and as soon as that grab does hit the deck, it might be another combination on deck. But that'll depend on whether or not the Zarya Flagor can actually get the high enough charge. The Supercharger is on the ground. I hope you like your reading Turbocharge. And Implement's definitely like that. He got rid of Shadow Raven in a gentleman's duel with both of the McCrees, but Dibs had obliterated Pazza, so we are at 1-1. And the Graviton Surge, it has to come up online and be worthwhile now, but it turns out to not be the case. And MAWF Academy, they may run away with this second point of Nepal, and we may go to a final set which is on Village. That's looking very likely to be the case.
Absolutely, we will be going to Village here. 1HP were looking unstoppable, but MAWF Academy's starting to come online now. Maybe they just needed some time to get settled in, because things are starting to look a lot less one-sided than how they looked at the start of this map. It's all going to come down to Village here now, and that means we're once again going to see a different look from these teams. Definitely some interesting compositions 1HP throwing out though. It is not strictly the double shield meta that most people are dealing with a lot in scrims, and that could be why MAWF Academy is struggling so much.
Maybe that's a deliberate plan by 1HP. Just say we can do oddball compositions and force you to solve the puzzle. Now we're moving into still a semi-standard setup with the Zarya and Flagor, which I'm very partial to Zarya. I'm a big fan, but despite that, 1HP have given up the higher ground, which is a huge roll of the dice. Ooh. But Pazza's moving it behind them. If they get Nancy Nate, this could be giant, and that's 3 there. So if that's capitalized on, it could be a big momentum shift, but it looks like that is not the case. Influence is the first to go down.
Yeah, defensive Maywall stops anyone from being able to follow up on that big anti-nade, and we will have the point taking over by the members of MAWF Academy now, and they are getting the kills as well as they eject the members of 1HP. Flagor gets walled off and taken out as well. That will be the cleanup there, and that does mean that, well, we see some composition swaps coming through from 1HP. Fabai a little caught out there.
Fabai was actually sitting on top of the little balcony above the point, just tucked in a corner, and it was almost like surprise. And then 1HP just got lynched upon, which is really unfortunate. And now MAWF Academy are wanting to continue the stronghold.
Absolutely. Aeon on the Pharah is an interesting pick, however, and it does mean there's not a lot available to try and deal with it. Gets the free kill onto Dibs. That's going to put a lot of pressure here. Aeon getting a lot of work done, in fact. Not traditionally a Pharah point, but when you don't have any answers to her, it is so difficult to deal with. As a result, we will see 1HP get the flip here. 58% on the clock for MAWF Academy.
And that's a decent effort given how elongated a couple of the fights were, and how oddly they all sort of started. They sort of started in a repelling sort of state, sort of away from one another and just waiting for the other one to make a move. Orisa extremely tagged up though, and that's forced the opposition to break away.
Ooh.
And a big anti-nade. It only focused the Orisa, but still,
That'll
one
do
of the
it.
members you do want to take down, that will definitely do it. And Flagor has been taken down in the trade, but it might be a raise. Yep, it will be by on the Mercy. And sometimes the pharmacy is the best course of action if the opposition have no answers. And just judging from how they've played thus far, they don't have answers.
Yeah, MAWF Academy might be tempted now to swap off one of their DPS to a hit scan, lose that ultimate, just to give them some tools. It looks like that's not what they're going to do. They're going to give it one last try here, especially with Aeon having just dropped the barrage. I suppose the Pharah, maybe not the biggest concern in their minds, but Aeon has done so much work here in the sky that maybe it should be. Blizzard coming through, they do manage to mostly get through it, and now Alamau dropping in with the Death Blossom. This fight is getting messy.
This is getting extremely scrappy. There is the Gravital Flux from Void. And was that a fade out? Paz's Bionade did not tag anyone on the opposite side. That was very strange. But either way, MAWF Academy are essentially chopping at the giant tree that is 1 HP, and now it's just basically turned to a war of attrition. And this war of attrition is still in the favor of 1 HP. And there is Shadow Raven with the Blizzard as this elongated fight continues, and now it's actually turning onto the side of MAWF Academy. No overtime is engaged for them though.
Yeah, MAWF Academy managed to sneak that one through at the end. It was a bit of a chaotic fight, but once the Pharah is removed from the sky, it becomes a lot easier to concentrate on the enemies in front of you. Influence now going to be going over to the Symmetra, so we're seeing some more swaps up there. That'll help everyone get into those close range fights, and make sure they get onto that point. But we'll see how it goes, because MAWF Academy, they're still in a good position to hold this one out. They're about to have a Coalescence online, and the Death Blossom's pretty close as well.
Definitely, and we've seen that when the Death Blossom is actually expertly applied, but the nano boost and the giant laser just melting the opposition, and that's gonna engage overtime. But now 1 HP could definitely clock in and claim Nepal for themselves, and they lead 1-0.
Absolutely, 1 HP coming through there in the end, but it was a back and forth series to say the least. MAWF Academy coming alive, putting up a great fight. Still, so far, if they're able to keep up this existing momentum, 1 HP are looking good to take this series. It's early days still though, so we'll see how things unfold as we head over to our Escort map mode next.
What will be our next choice for the Escort mode?
Well, it's a choice between Watchpoint Gibraltar and Junkertown. Those are the maps available. MAWF Academy will be the ones able to make that decision. So we will see which way they go from it. It's an interesting one because both of them are very long-range maps. Both of them play very well into the snipers. They play very well into your Hanzos, your Widowmakers, and obviously with the double shield meta we've been seeing, those heroes often struggle to get the value in there. So it could be interesting regardless of where we go. It looks like we will be heading over to Gibraltar, so a bit different from what we saw in our last series, but a lot of high ground here to exploit.
A lot of high ground, and also one of the top points of contention is always the ditch in the first point, because of that little tuck away that where a giant health pack is. There might be a couple of hidden members there when the payload is actually stuck in that ditch, and it's one of the... So if the payload gets stuck there and you don't know how to dislodge it, if you're an attacker, it is going to be a tough time for you.
Absolutely. Some metas that has been absolutely where you set up a defense, others not so much. With the current one, you definitely could run something down there with the shields, with the Mei, with those close range heroes, get a lot done. We'll see if that is what's going to happen. We get ready to roll out here and set up this defense.
It's true, and we are now in the assembly phase, and it appears at first glance the attackers are wanting to try and reconvene and escort a pirate ship. But then again, attackers love to send both observers and commentators through a wild roller coaster of emotions. But it would appear that OneHP's defense is very much set in stone, and we're seeing some heroes that we don't really see that often anymore. Fabi's Brigitte is what's really sticking out to me at the moment.
It's an interesting pick, but I can see it working with the Ball Winston tank line. Those healing over time health packs can be really useful, especially with the long range healing plus the CC. Aeon gets taken down early by Shadow Raven. That's a great opening pickup. And it looks like they will be rolling out with this Bastion. And the Immortality Field makes taking out that Bastion such a chore.
Definitely, and that might have actually saved the attackers there. And actually, it was so close to going down. I counted it around 20 to 25 HP. And the Lantern went down, and that's actually what prevented the Bastion and a couple of the teammates from going down. And Shadow Raven getting the parting word deposit as well. So that's forced the members of OneHP to do a little bit more soul searching, and Fabi's selected to give Baptiste another round. Ooh. Eon going down to Shadow Raven again. That is a rough time for that Pharah. Or for the Widow.
Yeah, absolutely. But that said, Shadow Raven has been on top of that Widow the whole time. They're making sure Eon has no space on there. Eon will be swapping over to the Genji as a result. But meanwhile, back in this fight, it does look like MAWF Academy will get it across the line. A bit of a delay there, and a late contest from Void. Just trying to get some extra charge up, I guess.
It's a really horrific mistime, though. Just came in a bit late.
Yeah, props for committing through nonetheless. Pazza now having to back up. A little worried about getting staggered out there, but an early pickup onto Shadow Raven by Influence does give an opportunity here for OneHP to come back into this fight.
And basically in between where the card is now and the little uphill thing right underneath the shuttle is exactly where the defense will want to really hold up. But Fabi has basically been forced to eat a tank shell, and it's essentially a scrappy fight. But this might be what OneHP really wants to play into as they start to move forward. But well, Void just got taught out of read. Sputnik will throw out a self-destruct and claim a pair, and just as soon as the defense was starting to fight in Sputnik, it literally got blasted away in Mecha Fallout.
Absolutely. Now Flagor and Void going over to the... Ooh, that might have been a fat finger. Going over to the Hog Orisa instead, trying to get the hooks in onto that Bastion, try and burn those shields a bit faster as well. Flagor getting in there. Supercharger is down for reading, but Aeon picks up the first kill onto that all-important Bastion, and here comes the EMP.
That EMP had a lot of value to it, but it's not really in a position to be followed up upon. And, well, there you go. And, wow, look at Sputnik.
Oof,
been a while since we've seen one of these, but it doesn't get any less painful. But Sputnik can't call the mech down. Sputnik can't call the mech down. This could backfire if they're not careful. Oh, it went from almost backfiring to an extremely rough stagger for MAWF to deal with.
Absolutely. I mean, Sputnik doesn't want to call the mech down unless Sputnik can get the safety, because otherwise you're just feeding an extra 600 HP worth of ult charge through to the enemy. So it's not a matter of having it online. Sputnik needed to get the safety, almost did. Not making it there though, and Shadow Raven going down early. This is... Oh, there's another D-Mech on the Sputnik. The Halt Hook coming through now from Void and Flagor is really starting to lock down these chokes.
And oh, Influence just got caught out.
Uh-oh. Yeah, that could be.
That was just an awkward time to uncloak. It's just like basically any type of stealth ability, and the cloak just runs out when you're just short on a flank, and you end up turning up in front of the entire team. Like, hi, I'm a free target. But there's the Valkyrie mode from Doctor Who, and the attackers are finally in a position to try and move forward, especially with the coverlets that's at their back.
Ooh.
But it's not getting all that much
Shadow
value.
Raven.
But Shadow Raven has been
And
vanquishing a
Eon
lot of
fighting
foes,
back.
and Eon fought back with the Dragon Blade, cut down the Pharmacy and the Moira, and told the Peacekeeper to peace out. And Eon just ran roughshod with the sharpest steel in video games today, that being the Dragon Blade and his shurikens.
Absolutely. The nano boosted Dragon Blade sets up, bringing back the fight from the brink of defeat there. Very nicely done. And these are the hero plays that we see from Genjis when people are allowed to play them. Paz are in a bit of a rough spot up there, actually, and we're going to see people jumping on them. But early kills, once again, onto Dibs and Reading means that this attack also a bit scuffed there. Pazza finally taken out by that Diva. And there may be an opportunity here for the attackers, but they need to respawn first. So Pazza should be able to get back into range, and it looks like Influence going for some sneaky McCree flanks as well.
Maybe, and even if it's not a sneaky flank, just the threat of McCree being there, almost getting the better of the Moira as well.
Ooh,
but
never mind.
Eventually got caught out by Sputnik, so maybe overstay their welcome. And Influence might be regretting that unless he can get into position and let the Deadeye go. And a big debuff from Pazza as the Ana, but they ended up going down, and 1UP slowly being crumbled away by MAWF Academy. It took them a while, but they got there in the end, and they'll shoot up their time bank to 1 minute and 40 and a little bit of change.
Absolutely, and as often happens on Gibraltar, we do have the rough spawns as Void gets caught out there, ends up giving up their life and a fair bit of ultimate charge over to MAWF Academy as they get that payload rounding that first corner. We're coming into the final straight. There's a lot of tools available for the defense, however, so you gotta feel like, well, here it comes.
I was waiting for the nano boost to go into Eon as soon as he got engaged upon, and his Unseated not really got all that much because focused down and demolished by the entire attack. And 1 HP, they do have a lot of ults to hand, but they're not really getting as much value as they'd want to hold a very strong defense. But to their credit, they have led the clock down to 50 seconds and counting.
Absolutely. Time is being churned through, and it looks like they have got control of the payload once again, forcing the members of MAWF Academy back. They've still got the supercharger, and they're going to have a nano online as well, and Eon back on the Pharah. Also rough. Oh, Influence getting taken out there.
Influence is not having a good time on the McCree thus far. He's just been focused down and been made a non-factor, and the payload will keep rolling on with the back end with the assistance of MAWF Academy. Sputnik could run down Eon. Shadowburn got almost a team effort. 3 of the members were responsible in taking the Bay off the board, and the attacking side is running out of chances to actually stabilize as 1 HP gets the chance to do the same. And this might actually be 1 HP holding out to 2 points.
Absolutely, they will come together there in the end. Eon back over to the Doomfist, and the attack falls apart just on the finish line. But Gibraltar, not the easiest map in the world to finish. This is by no means a done deal. We'll see if MAWF Academy are able to get this one going and push the payload through. They basically just need to finish or slightly short of it, so it's very, very achievable to actually stop this one up. They just need to get some good defensive rotations going. 1 HP on the other hand, just looking to finish the map or finish to the victory box. It's a little less than actually having to finish the map. Very achievable for both teams. We'll see how this unfolds as we make our way back to the start of Gibraltar.
Indeed. And here we go. 1HP's composition will start to take shape and probably morph into a few other parts. And speaking of morphing, Morph Academy, they're all set in stone. We're seeing our Doomfist for the evening. They're being Shadow Raven. And if you've watched a lot of Overwatch in the competitive spheres as of late, Doomfist has been a cornerstone for a lot of play. And if your Doomfist can be up to snuff, you are invaluable. You are like gold to the rest of your team and extremely valuable. And now the gates are down, and 1HP, what do you have to show us? And will you be able to set sail?
Well, they've rotated through. They've got the double shields out there. It does make it very easy to get that Bastion set up initially. Keeping them there is the tricky part, but well, due to the rooted nature of the Bastion, very hard to punch that one off. So Doomfist's ability to ignore shields, not as valuable when engaging onto a Bastion. Shadow Raven getting very low, and that will be both Shadow Raven and Reading taken out there. The payload continues to roll through, pretty much unopposed there. This is looking like a good opening here for 1HP.
That is very, very true. And Eon brought down a tiny bit, but has not been forced to perish yet. And even still, the threat of influence on the Widowmaker is still something to consider, as the side of MAWF Academy are looking to re-engage, and Parza going down is a good start.
Absolutely. We do have a lot of... Well, the fight is really falling apart. It's going into a bunch of different areas. Ayla does gets taken out, as does Doctor Who, by Aeon with the thing, but Shadow Raven will be there. When you're in tank mode, you can be punched into walls, and so it will indeed. And it looks like the defense may be able to hold here, but it's still dicey, and the respawns are still coming. Ooh, Influence takes Shadow Raven out of the air.
And Void might be a little bit mad at that. Threw the rock at the Diva to eject her, and then, just to call a new mech, decided to pull into self-destruct and blew up the Sigma. So that is not what you'd want in that instance. And that's definitely given MAWF Academy a chance to stabilize fully. But on the other side of the coin, a lot of the ultimates are coming online, the ones that you want for a proper attack. The Supercharger and the Nano Boost, to be specific. The Window 2, but maybe it's not as valuable given how quickly it can come back, and Ayla just got shredded, and that's forced the res out from Doctor Who.
Yeah, I mean, if you stack that Supercharger, that Window, and that Nano Boost, you're going to melt things with the Bastion, but beyond that, not sure exactly where they'd commit those resources. So far, hasn't really mattered though. Shadow Raven putting in the work, tag teaming with Ayla Mao. That will be another successful hold here for MAWF Academy. They're putting in a great showing. They don't have a lot of tools available for their next fight, but Aeon is going to swap over to the Soldier now. The Bastion not going to continue to be attempted, so they're not able to get back onto that payload quite so easily.
Definitely not, and they're running into 1 hot minute, and Aeon already being focused upon. So we got double hit scan, which is a rather rare sighting nowadays, and we'll see if it's actually worthwhile or if it backfires horrifically. Ayla got so close to dropping the barrage on them, but got wiped out by influence. And now 1HP finally getting things right as rain, and Doctor Who can't even get the res off. So it's a eventual team fight win for 1HP. Will decide what to recontest. No, didn't look like it. No, the Reading Writing Hotline is now engaged because the call center had a meteor strike and Void was responsible. So that is 1 point on the board for 1HP, and any more members that get stretched out, the better. And Dibs getting a little bit of a delayed spawn is not what you'd want.
Yeah, the spawns of Gibraltar are notorious for it. Eon picking up Doctor Who on the retreat as well with that tack visor. Going to surge forward, see if they can get any more targets. The DPS duo are getting in, getting deep, but Eon does get punished for it. And so that is going to be a window here for MAWF Academy to come back in.
They can definitely come back in and contest, but the question is, would they really want to? They don't really have to. They pretty much have to, given their current setup, but Void and Influence will be a dynamic duo. And sure, the Devo can get the touch and the nano boost, but everybody is going to know when you're a giant glowing mech coming towards your team. That's exactly what happened. He just got ran over. And that's 2 points on the board for 1HP, and we have 3 minutes and 15 to get to the box.
Yeah, not a great hold there on B for MAWF Academy, but that last fight not the worst either. Did bleed a lot of resources out. That may be what they need here, because they've made some wholesale team swaps as well. They need to really prevent a snowball from happening here so they can dig in, get their economy online, and get things going. Flagor going down early is exactly what they need. Ayla Mao just rolling over this team with the Hellfire shotguns. MAWF Academy still back into this one, and that is the fight they needed to stop the progress of that card.
And this one, that was Feeby just trying to buy a little bit of time for 1HP to return, but got taken out. So it could be awkward unless Eon can really have a go at it and take down a member of the defense in kind. Got close.
Here comes
but
Ayla Mao.
not close enough, and Ayla Mao just stepped in and got shown the door by Influence. That's gonna hurt.
Oh, speaking of hurting, the Deadeye picks up 2, and this could be it. 1HP picking up all the kills they need. This payload's going to keep rolling forwards. There's probably not even time for some desperate spawns to get there. Doctor Who trying to get the touch, not able to get in there, and no one will be able to touch. So with that, 1HP will pick up Gibraltar, put themselves up 2-0 in this series.
And I really did enjoy just seeing 1HP just gather up outside of one of the spawn doors, and the Orisa just acting, it was Flagor just acting as a security guard saying, no entry. Sorry, buddy. That's not how it works. And despite MAWF Academy's best efforts, 1HP will take Gibraltar and definitely have the upper hand. And now MAWF Academy, they'll be on the back foot moving into our next discipline.
Absolutely, and we're going to hybrid. And you know what that means? They get the choice between going to King's Row, maybe the map they want to play, but also the map 1HP probably want to play, or trying their luck on Eichenwald, which is, all things said and done, not dissimilar to the map they just lost, especially in that second section. Not the easiest decision to make. 1HP have been looking really strong all night. MAWF Academy, they've been able to pick up some fights here and there, but it's never looked as dynamic. It really does look like 1HP are the stronger of these two teams, and a lot of the time, MAWF Academy have been winning the fights off some over-aggression from 1HP. Some otherwise, just 1HP perhaps getting a little too over-aggressive, a little too cocky, and getting punished for it. But all said and done, 1HP have been able to close it out every time, so not the easiest decision in the world for MAWF Academy as they find themselves at match point.
That is very much true. And there's going to be a lot of deliberation because, as you said, both of the Eichenwald and Gibraltar are very similar, especially in their second phases. Sure, they are different aesthetically, they have a different layout, but in terms of their purpose and their basic design, they're both very, very similar in terms of design. And judging from what we saw from MAWF Academy in terms of defense, it was a rough trot for them against 1HP. They just basically had them solved on the attacking side.
Absolutely, it is hard to run that Winston Ball Doomfist into a Bastion because, well, Bastion. As a result, we will be heading over to King's Row. So a bit of a home ground advantage for both teams, as you'd expect. Kings Row, it's still the #1 scrim map. Everyone loves it.
It's essentially that map.
It is that map.
Every game's got one.
Now entering Kings Row.
We'll once again be seeing OneHP playing from the blue, MAWF Academy playing from the red. This is potentially the last chance for MAWF Academy to get themselves into this game, get themselves something onto the scoreline. Because really at this point, they want to get as much as they can out of this. They ideally, they definitely want to win this series, but even just getting some points on the board, something to give them the edge in the Swiss bracket, because after all, both these teams are in contention for the final top 4 places. They both want the shot at that $500 prize pool, and that means that they really need everything they can here to make sure they are in those top-seeded positions at the end.
That is very, very true. And now we see the defense begin to take shape on the side of OneHP, and another rare sighting by Eon. Maybe he's just doing this to tease us. He knows he's on stream. Because you don't see Junkrat all that often anymore.
No, he was a strong pick on this first point of defense, though, for quite some time. He really can lock down Hotel. But especially with how popular Symmetra has been, the ability to lock down that area is not as valuable as it once was, because most people just bypass it with a teleporter anyways. We'll see if that is the plan, because it doesn't look like MAWF Academy are rolling out with the Symmetra. It will be Doomfist Pharah and the Rhine Zarya coming out. Flagor playing the Zarya as well with Void on the Sigma means that not as many shields as, well, you'd think for Shadow Raging to be punching through. And an early stun, an anti-grenade, a lot of pressure there. There goes reading to the Sim turrets.
And that is one way for the hotline to get disconnected, just got zapped to death. Influence does claim 2, and one from beyond the grave, the Fire will be decommissioned. And OneHP is starting off extremely strong. And this is one of the points in the game for the defense. If you can get really stuck in and really run through, it is going to be a tough nut to crack. And Influence's Symmetra has been retired, but Kree will take their place.
Oh, it's an understandable pick with dealing with the enemy Doomfist and Pharah, having a hit scan that can CC as well. Definitely a useful tool to have available to you. There goes Doctor Who early as well. Ayla Mao not long to follow. We see the aggression coming out once again for OneHP. They hit the gas pedal, looking to pick up as many exit kills as they can.
Oh, and Implements got lucky. Actually, Parser got lucky, actually. Got down extremely low and put Influence to bed. Oh, Influence got put to bed when the Honor of Dibs was basically dead to rights, moving towards the spawn door. So that sleep, if it didn't land, it was going to be a really bad stagger there for the Honor, but a little bit of a crisis averted, but we're moving into 2 minutes and 10, and MAWF Academy's best chance. Riptide has gone out from Eon.
Ooh. And
claims a pair. That's one of the damage dealers and one of the tanks gone, and the rest of 1HP will clean up the scraps. And this has been 1HP, and maybe the one has had a lot of zeros in front of it, because this has been a tough composition for MAWF Academy to solve, and they're running out of time to do it.
Absolutely. That said, MAWF is starting to get the ultimates online. They will have the Barrage, the Valkyrie, and of course the Nano available as well. Shadow Raven taking a quick nap, but does get out to safety. And now there's a Nano Junkrat on the field, just running in, dropping those high damage grenades and getting the bubble to get out to safety. Just going to give him so much charge towards that next Riptire. It's a really interesting play here from 1HP, but it's absolutely working out, and MAWF Academy, they're a little shell-shocked here. They're not sure what to do to try and break through this defense.
They are seeing something so unorthodox that they are extremely confused. There's Sputnik taken down late, and same with Doctor Who. Influence has been, well, living up to that namesake of being a huge influence in these last few defensive runs. And we're running sub 1 minute. And 1 HP, aside from Parza, are armed to the teeth.
Ooh.
And Eon and ALML are just traded. That is not what you want as an attacker. The trades will always favor the defense. And
Actually, this one I think works in their favor. Aeon was there on the flank trying to get a sneaky tire, and ALML will get in much faster on this early point. Influence going down there as well. This might be the opportunity they need to get in.
But there goes the Riptire, and it is trying to wrap around through the hotel. Shadow Raven will be run over by it, and not quite run over, but blown up either way. There is the Graviton
Shadow's not
surge,
bad.
and that Shadow wasn't bad. ALML does end up going down. Eon pays a connection fee to the reading writing hotline. Sputnik has run through the rest of the defense, and Influence is the only member at least trying to stand. It took a while, but I flat out cast a curse the side of MAWF Academy, saying that it was going to be a trade in favor of the defense. The defense actually shattered on the back of Eon going down. It was a slow destruction like a house of cards. Now that's the first point done for MAWF Academy, but as is tradition on King's Row, they're definitely not out of the woods yet, especially given how little time MAWF Academy have to bear.
Absolutely, they have pulled out the heavy machine gun though, Shadow Raven over onto the Bastion, and that's going to buy them a lot of space. Those Sigma shields are not going to hold up long under that withering fire. That said, Aeon is going to make sure that Shadow Raven doesn't hold up long either. And with that, we're going to see an immediate retreat from MAWF Academy. 1HP back in control of their destiny, back in control of the payload.
And a real bad stretch on the Doctor Who and Dibs. And that will give 1HP even more room to basically force back their opposition. And FEMA just absolutely demolishes the Orisa and turns the Equine Omnic to scrap. And Eon Southers has basically gotten the better of Shadow Raven. Shadow Raven just basically became William Tell, but without the cool theatrics.
Absolutely. Point blank dragon into spawn just to send a message. And Aeon already 50% to the next dragon strike, almost 60.
Look at Influence's position. He's right underneath one of the spawn doors.
No.
This could get ugly if he's left unchecked. Now he's fully beefed up. Really curious as to where he goes. A lot of the members of MAWF Academy are up top, but Shadow Raven got put to bed and put down. Parza is there to basically avenge that back, and now Deadeye goes out, and the reading writing hotline has had another disconnection. Their service is not as good as it used to be, and this is a rough trot. It took so much work to get the first point, and it's turning from a stream to swim through, and now it's turning more into gelatin, and it may have turned into swimming through concrete as we move into 10 seconds remaining in the time bank.
Dragon Strike comes through from Shadow Raven, just trying to make some space as MAWF Academy desperately try to get things going, try and get things back under control, but there's the grab through. ALML gets clicked up, so does Sputnik, and this is looking absolutely devastating for MAWF Academy as 1HP takes control of the fight once again.
And they're all bouncing around the payload. There are a couple of members of MAWF Academy just trying to keep the payload in place, let alone getting it to move. The Orisa and Lucio is still tucked in the back. The reading writing hotline is taken down by the hand of Influence. Doctor Who has suffered a similar fate, and now the yellow box of victory will be painted on the cobblestone street phase of King's Row, just beyond the arch.
Absolutely, a very, very obtainable goal for the members of 1HP. It's match point. All they need to do, get that first point, get it around the first bend, and they've basically got this one in the bag. It's going to take a Herculean effort here from MAWF Academy to be able to hold it off here. It will be the 12 labors if they're able to get that point A defense they need to hold. They need to hold the line to be able to take this map and put themselves back for a run for the reverse sweep, but there is so much against them here, it's going to be so difficult for them to pull it off.
And we already have a small bit of data we can pull that from, just looking back on Watch Point Gibraltar. MAWF Academy, they really couldn't put it all together at all.
Absolutely. It really has been 1HP's game. They are the dominant team in this one, and they're absolutely showing it. When push comes to shove, MAWF Academy may be able to take fights off them here and there, but at the end of the day, 1HP have made it look easy when it counts. And so we're going into this, it's the final chance, the final opportunity for MAWF Academy to hold the line here. They need to punch above their weight here if they want to keep this series alive.
And 1HP are electing to use a Symmetra and a Bastion. I really hope that this involves a teleporter onto one of the high ground just to blindside the defenders. Right on top of the Madonna statue!
Oh my god!
This is going to hurt if he's not dealt with in a prompt order, and he's got the Sigma shield as well. This is going to be a rough run,
no.
and Flagor just run over the Sigma to even things up. But Paza did get beamed down by Spundy, but that is 1/3 already given up to the attacking side of 1HP. And the longer FIBA can keep the comrades up, it is going to be very easy for them. This could be a third given up, but now it would appear that the side of MAWF Academy are really short on answers. They're going to be very short on time. A first point done and dusted run will be coming to fruition there, and now 5 minutes and 25, and it'll be all panic stations for MAWF Academy. And looking at Eon, he is on top of the world and feeling extremely confident in the chain gun formation. Could be letting the attack go. You hear the charge stick there, leaping up to try and at least decommission the lantern, and gets rid of Dibs mid-coalescence. So 1HP have turned it into an infinite amount of zeros as opposed to a few, and MAWF Academy have no answers at all. And just judging from the position alone, there may not even be a proper fight. This could be it. Done and dusted.
I think it is, Cyber. I do not believe they're going to be able to get a touch here. There's simply no members of MAWF Academy even remotely close to that payload. The position they needed to defend just too close. And as a result, 1HP will pick up the W here. A clean 3-0 series in their favor. And that is definitely going to put them into contention for those top 4 playoff positions that they are aiming for.
And in a very quick little trade-off, who would be your MVP? I'd personally go with Eon for that one.
Aeon's definitely put in some great work. We've seen some really big, really impactful plays coming out from them. I don't disagree with that. All the members of 1HP have just put on such a fantastic performance. It's really hard to actually even pick any of them above there. We've seen some great plays from Pazza. We've seen some great work from Fabai. Flagor is often a crowd favorite as well. There's just so many great players on 1HP. It is hard to separate it out, and so I think I will agree with you there and give it to Eon. Eon consistently making the big plays there. But I do want to give an honorable mention to Paz's endless boops way back on the first round of the first map.
Yes.
Because it just kept happening over and over and over again.
And no matter who you talk to, they're always entertaining. Always. And now, what's going on? Anyway, we shall conclude our coverage for this evening. That'll be a 3-0 victory to 1HP. And that will conclude our coverage of the Gauntlet for another week. And the one leading the charge has been Peronius. I have been Cyberwaste. We have been representing CappingTV, who is led by our glorious producer, who is named Mitch. Good night, happy fragging, be the best hero you can be.